All right, we're to the point of the process where we get to earn another merit badge on this 280Z restoration. Now, if you're familiar with first generation Zs, the 240, 260, and 280, there's a couple different, very difficult tasks that you're going to encounter when rebuilding or restoring your own Z car. One of those is spindle pins. If you do any research whatsoever, you're going to find that that task is absolutely miserable when it comes to replacing the spindle pins, most likely because they're rusted and corroded in the actual upright assembly or the lower control arm, and they are impossible to remove. So if you remove yours and replace those spindle pins, congratulations, you've earned yourself one merit badge on your restoration journey. The other merit badge is what we're working on today, and that's going to be stainless trim. Now, depending on how far you decide to take your restoration, most of it is going to involve some type of body and paint work. We've done a lot of body and paint work to this Datsun 280Z, which required us to remove the glass to it, and we're going to be replacing the weather stripping, a lot more rubber components and everything within the car itself, but most of the time you pull the glass out of the car to paint it. So that's what we did a long time ago. If you want to catch any of those videos, check them out here. You can see all the paint and body work we've done and in those list of videos that are right there in your screen. If you'd like to check those out, feel free to do so. We're to the point where we're ready to put the glass back in. The car's already painted. We've got the new weather stripping kits from Precision. They fit okay. They get a lot of bad rap, but you know, they sure as heck beat the couple $1,000s that some people want to spend on the OEM weather stripping. If you want to do that, be my guest. I'm not. So we went with the Precision weather stripping kit. Now I'll go over a little bit later on, maybe in some other videos, of what comes within that kit and what doesn't come within that kit. Today we're just focused on the rear hatch right now. We're getting ready to install it back in the car. And a lot of what you'll see is this step done incorrectly because it's very difficult. It is merit badge worthy according to some people. And depending on how you attack this situation will be dependent on how difficult it is for you. Typically what you would do is clean the glass or install new glass, put the weather stripping out in the sun for a couple hours. That is going to make your life so much easier. It's unbelievable. So let that weather stripping heat up in that packaging for an hour or two and then bring it in on the bare glass. Now, once you get it to the bare glass, it should fit fairly easy. 10-15 minutes, it should be on there, no problem. If you are having difficulties installing the weather stripping to the glass, maybe go around in those difficult spots and start using some masking tape to attach it to the windshield and kind of hold it tight as you go around. Once the weather stripping is on, most people would try to reinstall it in the car because they think that's the next step. And if you're not going to be installing the stainless trim, that is the next step. Now, the other task that we're going to be doing today is installing the weather stripping and the stainless trim. Now, some people consider this merit badge worthy because the stainless trim is very thin, it's very finicky, and it's very difficult to work with. And I'm here to show you it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I don't think it's worthy of a merit badge, but it is a difficult task. So if you can follow these steps, put the stainless trim back in your weather stripping, congratulations, you can earn yourself another merit badge. But we're going to show you exactly how difficult it could be if you do it incorrectly and how easy it is if you do it correctly, and in my opinion, not merit badge worthy. So step one is most people in their restoration process, they're going to be removing the glass because the weather stripping is super old, it's hard, brittle, cracked, and it doesn't seal the water any longer. Most people will remove that and get ready for paint and body. We've already done all of that work. The car's painted. It's ready for the glass to be reinstalled. So what you want to do is you want to clean up your glass, get it ready for the installation. First step, you want to take the weather stripping and set it out in the sun. You don't want to try to just stick this thing on the glass right away. It's going to be very difficult, non-pliable, and hard to get installed to the glass itself. Once it's been sitting out in the sun for 2 hours or so and had a chance to heat up, it becomes very pliable and very malleable and a lot easier to install. Come in, start stretching the weather stripping around the glass, get it on the glass. If you are having some difficult spots that you find it still trying to come off the glass on you, maybe take some masking tape and attach it to the glass, and that way it will help you, especially if you're working by yourself, as you go around. If you leave it out in the sun long enough, most of the time you won't even need that. Some people say they want to use a little bit of weather stripping lubricant to install it to the glass. I don't like to do that because then it moves around too much. It's already having a hard enough time staying where you put it. The last thing I want to do is make everything that much more slippery. We will be using this to install it in the car a little bit later on, but not right now during this process. Most people, once they get the weather stripping on, they immediately want to go install it in the car because they're not thinking about all the trim. And that mistake is a big one, and that's why most people who replace the weather stripping, you'll see without the stainless trim installed later on, because once you get it in the car, it becomes that much more difficult, if not impossible, to get all of these little trim pieces within the trim channel. So the first thing you want to do is put the weather stripping to the glass, and then you want to install the stainless steel trim within the weather stripping before the glass goes into the car. All right, I've brought you guys in a little bit closer just so you can see this channel is not very wide anyway, and it's a lot smaller than this stainless steel trim is to begin with, so it's very difficult to get it started anyway and get it in the actual channel. What will happen is when you install this, even as small as this opening is, when you install it into the channel, if you were to go ahead and put the glass in the car, all of this weather stripping would get pushed even tighter and it would close up this gap even more. So that's when it becomes pretty impossible to get the stainless steel trim within this little groove right here without cracking, breaking, or tearing your brand new weather stripping. So you want to do this step before you go install it into the car. Now there's a couple different ways to get this started. You got a little bit of molding marks here on the corners, and that just kind of gives you a general reference of where these corners are going to kind of land and cover up and where you want to start maybe laying this trim. Now, you could do, like most people do, is this method right here. They'll get it worked in all the way down, get it nice and snug, and then they'll try to stretch this lip over this. That is when it becomes a merit badge worthy task, because that makes it a lot harder than it should be. You'll have to get in here, and I did one just for a time comparison on the time lapse, and you'll see how much longer it took me to do it this way. It can be done, but you'll have to get in here with a tool and start working all this rubber around as you go, and it's very, very time consuming. You're literally working 1/8 to 1/4 inch at a time. Instead, what I would do, and what I did on the other side, is put this side in the lip and push it towards the glass. Work it all the way down. Slips in there pretty easy. Now, if you need to move it left to right, now would be the time to do so before you go ahead and lock it in place with the back part of the strip. Now I'm going to move you back here so you can see me start this. But this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is what you would want to do, is just come in here and peel, and you don't need any special tools. You just need your hands. I'm always a big proponent of not having to buy fancy dancy stuff. You can get this kit. You will need it later on for some of the other weather stripping tasks within the rebuild. And if you're going to be doing a whole weather stripping kit, these are definitely handy to have. Whole bunch of different shapes. I've got an Amazon link in the description below if you want to go pick you up a kit yourself. They're only about 12 to 15 bucks. Use the link below. I'll get a small commission from that, and I'll be able to keep showing you little quick tips like this. So if you do it from the inside, again, it's very, very hard to pull this back even with the tools. What you would want to do this way is just come in here, pull it over, and then you just start working down. Getting a little pressure. See, I'm not pushing on the edge and making it tight. I'm just coming here to the inside just to keep it just enough pressure so that that lip will carry over. And see, I'm just using my thumb pulling down. Kind of be careful. You don't want to go this way, because then you have the potential to slice open your thumb. And injuries in the shop are never a fun day. But see how quick this is? I'm already a couple inches down. Doesn't take very long at all. So you just want to keep pulling down, and that rubber comes right over. Not a big deal. once you get all your big pieces in, then you start working the trim locks or the corners or those little bitty covers that just make everything look really, really nice and finished. So there you have it, guys. The windshield trim is in, the weather stripping's on, and this thing is ready to be installed back into the car. We will use the weather stripping lube. That will make that install go a lot easier, along with the little nylon rope method. This stuff is fairly cheap. It's only about 10 bucks. Definitely recommend getting it if you're going to be replacing all of the weather stripping. And then this is just a little poly camping cord. $3 at Home Depot. Once again, if you buy any of these tools using the Amazon links in the description below, the shop does earn a small commission, and I get to keep the lights on and continue showing you little tips and tricks to make your life rebuilding these Z's a lot easier. Let's go ahead and get this windshield installed. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, click that thumbs up. Now, this is where a lot of people get confused as to the rope method and how it works. Most people think you put the rope in the weather stripping and then you pull the rope out of the weather stripping as the glass is set in place. It folds the lip out and allows the glass to plop down in place. That's actually not a good concept or a good understanding of what's going on. Most people think the rope is what's doing the lifting around this metal lip and getting the weather stripping in place. It's simply allowing you to go back behind it and roll it over yourself. It feels like Christmas around the shop right now. You see all of these boxes. Those are all new parts that we need to put on the Datsun. So believe it or not, even though there's this big of a pile of boxes that's being delivered like every day now, there's still more boxes to come in. So we got to get back to work. We got to get busy. If you want to see what all these parts are and how they're going to end up on the car, go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go ahead and turn on that bell notification. That way you get notified just as soon as I get around to posting the next video. I appreciate you guys as always, and until next time, thanks for watching this one.